Hi, this is Mike Maloney, and I've got a problem that I've been struggling with. I have to have a fairly large amount of cash set aside to pay taxes, and I'm actually worried about keeping it in the banks these days. We live in this increasingly digitized world, and the problems are many. I keep most of my assets in physical precious metals in vaults. It's basically offline. I keep some cryptocurrencies, but I keep most of that also offline so that it's not exposed to potential cyber attack, to hackers, with all the viruses and things that are being created these days. It's just getting more and more precarious out there. And this is on top of things like all of the advanced economies passing these bail-in laws, where if there's another financial disaster, the laws already exist for the banks to take some of your deposits to bail themselves out. Instead of the taxpayers, it's going to be the depositors, just like it was in Cyprus. But the thing is that the cyber attacks, any talented kid that spends enough time working on some website trying to hack in, if they get in, we've recently had these data breaches with Equifax and with the U.S. government's, the Federal Office of Personnel Management, a whole bunch of personal information on government employees, and recently the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, what makes anybody think that their banks are safe if the federal government's websites and Equifax can get breached like this and the data stolen? And by the way, I read an article recently by Jeffrey Tucker that was quite good. The Equifax hackers are holding all of the information for ransom, and they've demanded Bitcoin in payment, which is traceable, by the way. With all of this hacking going on, one of these days it's going to be a bank, and we'll see a bunch of deposits disappear. Also, if you haven't heard about the Stuxnet virus, I suggest that you investigate it. This virus exists in most of the computers on the planet now, and it's suspected that it was created by the United States government to attack the Iran nuclear program, and they did that. It was semi-successful, but it continued spreading. Now, it's a benign virus unless it encounters a certain set of criteria, and then it gets activated. So it's nothing to worry about in your computer, but the fact that it is spread into almost every computer on Earth, and it was such an advanced virus that people have copied the code and modified it, and so we don't know what potentially could happen at any moment. I urge people to watch 0 Days. It's a movie. You can just Google it. I believe it's on Netflix and Apple TV and things like that. So watch 0 Days, and you'll learn a whole lot more about the Stuxnet virus. And this was several years ago that this came out. And so this code has been available to hackers and so on to modify and to use or launch against us. I've been looking around trying to figure out what isn't going to go down and what isn't going to get stolen somehow. And my conclusion is that cryptocurrencies taken offline and precious metals in storage, in vault storage where it's insured and everything, and it's not part of the internet, it's not part of the banking system, it's completely separate and under your control. Those are the two places that I can identify where it won't be stolen. However, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have been on this real tear lately, and when you look at the charts, it looks like the tulip mania of 1637. It's almost crazy how much it has increased. So, it could continue going on up to 10,000, but it could also fall to 1,000. And I have to have a predictable amount of cash available at a certain time to send to the government. And I'm afraid to put too much of it into Bitcoin or the other cryptocurrencies that I own. So I'm probably going to move most of it into gold and silver which might go down, but they're not going to go down by large percentages, and eventually they are destined for far, far higher prices than this. So I feel like I can store some of the value in a place that's offline and safe, and that the volatility is not extremely high like it is with cryptocurrencies right now. So as the dollar becomes more and more digitized, it becomes more and more vulnerable to attack from all of these hackers and viruses and such. Now, I call this WWE. It's World War III is going to be an electronic war. It's going to be a war of the internet. And one of the things that this looks like, there's a website called, I believe it's Norse.com, and they have a live map of attacks that are going on from one server to another. And most of the attacks come from overseas and are pointed at the United States. And I snapshotted a bunch of these a long time ago. And you see the servers that are the source and a list of the target locations. And then you see these attacks come, and it looks like this looks like a nuclear war or something, but this is the electronic war, World War E. And so take a look at 0 days, protect yourself, and keep your assets safe if you can. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.